Discover Puli in the heart of Taiwan. Next, step into creativity at the Paper Dome. Made from paper tubes, the building stands out with its rows of round columns. It was designed by Japanese architect Shigeru Ban as a temporary church. This was after a big earthquake in Kobe, Japan in 1995. A few years later, the Paper Dome was moved to Puli after the 9/21 earthquake in Taiwan. It represents the friendship and hope shared between the two places. The Paper Dome is now used for concerts, art shows, and other fun events. Wrap up your trip at the Geographic Center of Taiwan Monument, which marks the island's midpoint. At the foot of Hutou Mountain, there's a monument with the words, "Clear mountains, beautiful waters." However, this is not the actual midpoint of Taiwan. To reach the real center, you need to climb more than 400 steps from here. Along the way, you will pass tall pine trees and take in views of the surrounding mountains. You can also see the Puli Basin at the top. With just one day in Puli, you can enjoy nature, learn something new, and take home great memories.
Today's warm-up quiz is, let's blank the meeting and continue tomorrow if we need more time. A, wrap up. B, lock in. C, pass by. Or D, come across.
You have 15 seconds to think about it. Time's up.
Hi everyone, welcome to English for You. It's Mike here once again, along with
Laura.
lovely Laura, and we are still in wonderful Puli in the heart of Taiwan, and we are discovering this area of Taiwan that probably gets fewer tourists than it should, right? It's not near any of the big cities, but there are many reasons to go there to check out some of the wonderful things they have for tourists to see and do. Yesterday, we spent a really good day at the Puli Winery. That's been around since 1917, and they've been making very famous and delicious Shaoxing wine and wonderful snacks that you can also enjoy.
Pops.
Like the ice
the
pops.
Sausages.
And the sausages. And the rice cake sausage ice pops.
There you go.
I don't know if they have all of those in one thing, but maybe you could just make one yourself.
Oh, okay.
So today we are going to do to different and other places of Puli to check out some of the other things. And the first thing we have for you is very, very interesting. It says, next, step into creativity at the Paper Dome. I know the Taipei Dome, but I don't know the Paper Dome. It's made of paper? Yes, made from paper tubes. The building stands out with its rows of round columns. It's not often you see a building made of paper. That would seem to be a hard thing to make a building with. What if it rains? Yeah. Exactly. What if it catches on fire? But of course, we're not talking about disasters. We're talking about how beautiful and creative this building is. It's also very eco-friendly because you could recycle it. And it has columns that are made of paper. Now, columns are common things to find in buildings, but they're not usually made of paper because columns are those things that support or hold up the roof. We might call them pillars. Columns will usually be round. Pillars might be square or other shapes. But a column, yes, basically goes from the floor right up to the ceiling. It's enough space to walk around it, and it will be there to give strength to the roof, strength to the walls, and keep everything standing and solid. Often when you think of a temple, you might think of the big columns they might have at the front, because often the roof goes out a little bit further to cover people, and the columns, instead of walls, allow that roof to be held up and be nice and strong. For example, the columns in the ancient temple were originally decorated with bright paint.
Wow.
They're just plain stone now, but they used to be very colorful, those columns.
I want them colorful. OK, 接着我看到的是我自己个人也很想去的，就是纸教堂。The paper dome， 其中的 dome 是名词哦，就是圆屋顶的意思哦。我还看到片语 be made from A。Be made from B， 就是 A 是由 B 制成的，经化学变化哦。像是呢 ，This table is made from recycled wood，这张桌子是由回收的木材制成的。我们还看到了 stand out， 就是有出众啊、显眼。那 column 就是柱或者是支柱，这是一个名词。所以课文整句是说，接下来走进充满创意的纸教堂，也就是 paper dome， 这座由纸管搭建的建筑，以其一排排圆柱为特色哦。Super interesting.
Very, very, very cool. Now, you might be wondering, who would design a building made of paper? That's a good question. And we can tell you right now, it was designed by Japanese architect Shigeru Ban as a temporary church. What a cool idea. So it was designed as a church, a temporary church. It wasn't meant to be there forever, just for a short time. And there's a good reason for a temporary church. This was after a big earthquake in Kobe, Japan in 1995. Oh yeah, I remember. I don't remember the earthquake so much, but I remember a highway kind of tipped over like that. It was absolutely awful. And much of Kobe, which of course is a city right next to Osaka, much of it was destroyed in this very powerful earthquake. So you could understand that after so many people lost their homes and businesses and their churches, they needed temporary buildings.
Oh, okay.
How cool.
我们先来看一下 architect 这个名词，就是建筑师。而 Kobe 是哪里呢？就是日本的神户市。所以文中提到的地震就是著名的阪神大地震哦，那规模是瑞士 7.3 级，造成超过6000人死亡哦。所以回到课文是说，纸教堂是由日本建筑师 Shigeru Ban 所设计的。那原本是为1995年的日本阪神大地震后的灾民所建的临时教堂哦。So it used to be a temporary church. Is it still?Yeah, but
is it still serving as a church?
No, I don't know. Let's find out.
That's a good question. But of course, it's no longer in Kobe.
Right.
It says a few years later, after 1995 or whenever they had it built, a few years later, the paper dome was moved to Puli after the 9/21 earthquake in Taiwan, which was like 2001, I believe. So about 6 years later, they're like, hey, Taiwan, we have a temporary church. Because of course, in the 9/21 earthquake, many buildings also got knocked over. So the church represents the friendship and hope shared between the two places, helping each other out when times are difficult. I like that. And here we had that verb to represent. It represents the understanding and friendship between the countries. To represent is to symbolize or to stand for something. When we have an idea like friendship or love, you can talk about it, you can write about it, you can sing about it, but it's hard to kind of show it in some kind of way. So we might use a heart to represent love, right? When we put a heart on something, we're not talking about our heart that moves blood around our body. We're talking about the heart of love. So the symbol of the heart represents love. The color red can represent love, but sometimes the color red can represent danger too. We put red on signs when we're trying to warn people there's some danger or something like that. Flags will represent countries, and people can also represent places or things. A person from a company might go to another country to represent their company. And of course, the president of our country represents Taiwan when he or she travels around the world meeting people and talking to people. They stand for us. They take our place in a way that we can't all do it. For example, the olive branch on the flag represents peace.
那在这里呢，其实要回溯一下，其实921大地震 9/21 earthquake， 对，就是1999年的9月21日凌晨发生于台湾中部的921大地震哦。那 当时的规模是瑞士7.3级，也是台湾近代最严重的地震之一哦。而 represent 这个动词就是代表、象征，所以课文整句是说，几年后呢，这个纸教堂在台湾921大地震后迁至埔里，象征着两地就是日本跟台湾之间的友谊与希望。
Yes, of course. It was 1999 when they had the 9/11 earthquake. I was thinking of the terrible terrorist attack in 2001 on 9/21 the same day. It's kind of an unlucky day that, well, at least back then it was. All right, back to our article. The Paper Dome is now used for concerts, art shows, and other fun events. So it's still serving the community, this time in Puli. It's still bringing people together. Hopefully they invite Japanese artists to come and do concerts or shows. That would be a good way to continue this symbol of friendship between the two countries. But it is a cultural center where they have concerts, they have art shows, and other fun events for both people who live there and for tourists who come from all around. Concerts especially would be exciting. Let's talk about that. A concert is a musical performance. That's it. That's what a concert is. Anytime you see musicians playing and there's an audience watching, it's a concert. It could be a really small concert in a little jazz club or a little coffee shop, or it could be a concert at a huge place with thousands of people screaming their heads off for Taylor Swift or some of the biggest pop stars in the world. We can have classical music concerts, rock concerts, heavy metal, any kind of music. If you're playing it on a stage or even out in the open and people are there watching and clapping and enjoying the music, that, my friends, is a concert. For example, every year there are many free outdoor concerts at the International Jazz Festival. Ooh, free concerts. Yay.
我们来看一下 concert 就是演唱会啦，这是一个名词。For example, last summer I danced so much at the pop concert that my shoes fell off. 去年夏天我在流行音乐会上就是跳舞跳到鞋子都掉了。哦，这个演唱会实在是太嗨了。好，我们来看一下课文提到的是纸教堂，现在呢是用于举办演唱会耶、艺术展览以及其他有趣的活动，还有 interesting。Now
remember the title of our article was talking about Puli as being the heart of Taiwan. Remember that because as we get near the end it says wrap up your trip at the geographic center of Taiwan Monument, which marks the island's midpoint. So you're kind of in the belly button. You're in the belly button of Taiwan, right in the middle of Taiwan. So I guess if you measure it from the north to the south and east to west, that's the spot right in the middle of the country. That's kind of a cool thing to do.
Cool. Okay. Wrap something up 就是完成啊，结束。大家有没有觉得很耳熟呢？没错，它就是出现在今天的 warm-up quiz. Let's blank the meeting and continue tomorrow if we need more time. 让我们空格会议，如果还需要更多时间，明天再继续哦。那 A 当然就是正解咯 ，wrap up 结束。B lock in 锁住，怪怪的。C pass by 经过也是不对的，还是 D come across 你没有答错的话，这个是巧遇的意思啦。所以答案选 A wrap up 结束才是对的。而刚才提到的 monument 就是纪念碑，而 midpoint 就是终点，中间的那个点，它是一个名词。所以课文整句是说，旅程的最后，我们将前往台湾地理中心碑。那这里标志着台湾岛的中心 belly button.
There you go, right? The belly button of the country. Now, of course, you can find this probably on Google Maps or something like that. If you find Hutto Mountain, that's where we're talking about. It says at the foot of Hutto Mountain, there's a monument with the words clear mountains, beautiful waters. However, this is not the actual midpoint of Taiwan. What? Are they lying to us? It says to reach the real center, you need to climb more than 400 steps from here. Climb up 400.
No,
I get it.
you.
So that's the midpoint for lazy people.
Yeah.
The real midpoint is 400 steps up So
I don't want
you're close enough for me. But yes, the actual midpoint would be a little bit higher because, of course, this is a mountain area of Taiwan. And the midpoint won't always be down on the nice flat land. Well, you might have to get some exercise. When we talk about the actual something, we're saying this is the real one. This is the genuine one. It's not fake. It's not a copy. It's not kind of like the real one. It's the real one. When you're buying a piece of art and you want to spend millions of dollars, you will try to find an actual Picasso or Van Gogh. But if you're a normal person like me, you might pay a few hundred NT for just a poster or a picture. I can't buy an actual Picasso, a real Picasso painting, because it will be too expensive. Or how about visiting a museum where you might say, is this the actual spacesuit that Neil Armstrong wore on the moon? Or is it just a copy?
Probably is if it's a museum. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, maybe if you're the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., they might have it there, I bet.
OK， OK， 好，课文是说呢，这个碑文科有什么字呢？山清水秀这4个字哦。那它是位于哪里呢？虎头山山脚，这里的 foot，OK， 就是山坡啊、楼梯等等的底部，这是一个名词哦。然而这里并非台湾真正的这个中心点哦，为什么呢？我们先来看一下 actual 这个形容词，就是真实的、实际的。I thought the chocolate cake was tiny, but the actual one was huge. 我以为巧克力蛋糕很小，但实际上很大诶。所以课文说，要达到真正的地理中心，你还需要从这里爬上400多阶的阶梯 ，400 steps.
400 steps. Now that might sound like a lot of work, but trust me, it will be worth it. It says, along the way, you will pass tall pine trees and take in views of the surrounding mountains. You will be surrounded by beautiful nature. In other words, you can also see the Puli Basin at the top. There you go. I mean, what else do you want? Basins, towering mountains, and trees. It's worth 400 steps.
It
Plus, the good thing is once you go up, going down is easier. Right? The hard work is at the beginning.
Your knees might hurt.
Well, yeah, but that's true. You can go down more slowly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right, we talked about pine trees. Now, pine trees are trees you often find in the colder parts of the world. Pine trees are famous not for having big green leaves that then turn yellow and brown and fall off in the fall and winter. No, pine trees are known as evergreen trees. They are green all year long. They don't have leaves. They have little needles, tiny little things like this, and they are able to stay alive even in the cold winter weather of North America, Russia, places like that. The simplest way to think of a pine tree is think of a Christmas tree. That's exactly the type of tree we are talking about, and that's why we have those green trees at Christmas, because they're pine trees. They're a different type of tree. Here's a pretty amazing fact. There is a pine tree in California that is believed to be around 5,000 years old. Imagine that. And we also talked about the surrounding trees in the mountains all around you. That's what surrounding means. It means the ones that are all around you, the ones that are nearby. It could kind of be making a circle around you, like if you surround something, you're kind of making a circle around it, or often in a place outside in the world, we're just talking about the things that are not far, the things that are nearby. Your neighborhood is basically the businesses, streets, and homes that are in the surrounding area, the area around where you live. Here's another example. Everyone at the surrounding tables looked up when Barney dropped his glass on the floor. Oh, how embarrassing. Everyone's looking at me.
OK， 我们刚刚有看到 pine 是什么呢？就是松树啦，这是一个名词。而 take in something 这个片语啊，特别是指观赏或者是观看什么东西。For example, we sat by the lake to take in the sunset while eating ice cream. 我们坐在这个湖边，一边吃冰淇淋，一边观赏着夕阳。How lovely!
Was it a wine ice pop?
Yeah. OK. Surrounding 这个形容词就是附近的、周围的，而 basin mountain 这个名词就是盆地哦。所以课文整句是说，沿途中我们可以看到高高的松树啊，并且能欣赏群山围绕的美景。那你登顶之后，还能看到整个埔里盆地。Okay, maybe I'll take those 400 steps.
It sounds like it might be worth it. And I'll buy you an ice pop when we get down.
I want the rice cake one.
Refresh yourself. And this is all in one day. It says with just one day in Puli, you can enjoy nature, learn something new, and take home great memories and delicious souvenirs. You can also, of course, stretch it out to 2 or 3 days. We're not saying you have to do it all in one day.
No.
That could be a very busy day. I think it would be nice to go slow and just enjoy the beautiful environment.
Especially you have to climb those 400 steps.
I would need a half a day for my legs to recover.
所以我们刚刚其实这2天我们提到说，只要1天，其实你们在埔里可以享受自然风光，学习新知识，并带回美好回忆。但是麦跟我觉得说，其实我们可以再多去几天啊，因为特别是我觉得我还要再爬那个400那个阶梯。好啦，不想错过更多精彩的 English for You 内容，就快点订阅我们的 YouTube 频道和追踪 Facebook 哦。
Yes.
And that means it's time for our For You chat.
Yes, and let's do it. How would you introduce Puli to visitors from another country?
Well, you mentioned visitors, and
Yes.
I kind of thought Sun Moon Lake.
Okay.
That's kind of like more famous, and people are kind of like more, oh, I know where that is.
And you said it's close by.
Right. So I would introduce Puli to them by taking them to Sun Moon Lake nearby and then relaxing under the tall pine trees because it's peaceful and makes you forget about busy city life.
That's
right?
a great idea. You could use Sun Moon Lake as your base and do little trips and make Puli one of the best days out. I think that sounds fantastic. So maybe we'll see you guys there in Puli enjoying some wonderful souvenirs or also climbing a lot of steps. You might see us sitting at the bottom going, but we'll see you there and we'll see you back here even before that. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Column. The old building has tall stone columns that hold up the roof. Represent. The heart symbol often represents love, and is commonly used on cards and gifts. Concert. My favorite singer is going to have a concert next month. Let's buy tickets. Actual. My grandmother doesn't like using ATMs. She prefers to go into the bank to talk to an actual person. Pine. Anita saw a beautiful pine tree while walking through the snowy forest with her cousin. Surrounding. The restaurant's large windows offer great views of the surrounding mountains while you enjoy your meal.
智慧小补帖。
Architect. Monument.
掌握最新时事主题，立即下载空中美语 App， 免费收听当期完整杂志。